Hello everyone, here is Fix Team. I'm Anthony. I'm very happy to meet you here. Today we are showing you the online class. Okay, come on to the class. Today is the lesson 3, the cross 3. Today we will teach you the ambient sensor and the proximity sensor, the principle. And in this class, we also will teach you the ambient sensor, the proximity sensor, the principle, and how to test and repair. And we also will share some case to you guys and let you guys improve quickly. In the upper of the iPhone, you have the ambient sensor and the proximity sensor. And these two sensors is in the upper of the iPhone. And in today, we will share you guys these two sensors, how it works and what is its principle and how is its circuit. So in the first, we're talking about the ambient sensor. At the first, we need to know what is the main function of the ambient sensor. His main function is the CPU detect intensity of the ambient light around the phone through the ambient sensor to automatically control the screen brightness of the phone. And the ambient sensor is integrated in the FaceTime camera, the front camera cable. And his working condition also have two. One is power and the second is the signal. And we can see that the certificate, you can see the photo, the 28 pin in this connector. This is the 3.0 voltage of the ambient sensor. It is sent by the PMU, the main power IC. And we can see the 29 and the 13, these two pin. This is the CPU use the I2C line to control the ambient sensor and the proximity sensor, these two sensors in the same time. And then we see the 13 pin. This pin is ALS to AP INT. This is the signal line. This is ambient sensor to CPU the interact signal. Okay, come back to the class. We see the next. This is the proximity sensor. And when we know the proximity sensor, the first we also need to know that what is his main function. His main function is the CPU detect the distance between your phone and the user's face through the proximity sensor to wake up and turn off the LCD, the glass. The screen display and touch functions to provide felt touch during our calling. The proximity sensor want to working normally, he also have two working conditions. One is power and the signal also. And we see the photo, see the schematic. You can see that the 23 pin, this is PP3V0 proximity. This is the proximity, the 3.0 voltage from the PMU, the main power IC. And now we see the 13.2 this pin. This is PP3V0 proximity IR LED. What is IR LED? IR LED is mean that infrared light. Maybe you will know the IR camera. It's like this. Do you know the reason why in here have the IR LED, the IR camera? Because the proximity sensor how to detect the distance between the phone and your face. He is use the IR line to detect the distance. And in the before we have been talking about the 20 line and the 13. This two pin is sent by the CPU. This is I2C control line. Okay, now we see the 26 and 13.3. This two line is the touch, the transmit and receive signal. He is use this signal to control the touch, turn on and turn off. Okay, now we see the 25 this pin. This line is touch to proximity, the receive in power signal. In the before we have been talking about that the display circuit want to work normally, he have two conditions. One is power, second is signal, right? And he has two power, right? One power is from the PMU and the second power is from the U4000 display touch power IC. So that we know if the display want to work normally, he need the PMU and the U4000 display touch power IC. These two IC need to working normally, right? And if the phone can power on, normally the PMU is working normally. So in this time, we focus on the U4000 display touch power IC, how it works. At first, we need to talking about the main function of this IC. T is provide the power for the display, touch, and pressure sensor circuit. And this IC, the U4000, the display touch power IC, this IC want to working normally, he also have two conditions. One is power, the second is signal. And as you can see in the power point, you can see the line. His power is from the PP VCC min. And his signal, one part is from PMU, one part is connected to the CPU. So at first we see the C2 point. The C2 pin is PMU to OWL active ready. This is the line. It's the U2000, the PMU P4 pin to the C2 pin. And this is PMU to this U4000 display touch power IC. And then we see the E1 pin. And as you can see, this is CHEST-NUT to PMU this line. This is also a signal line, and this signal is special because in this signal line he have kinds of the signal go through this line. And after that we go down. As you can see, the D2 and D3, the name is I2C0, AP, SDA, and SCL, right? And this is I2C bus line. Okay, after we study the display circuit and we study the backlight circuit. And if the phone just the backlight circuit have some problem and the display circuit no problem, when the phone power on, we can see the logo, but not very clean, but we can see that. And if you can see the logo, you can see it's okay, but not very clean. It means that the display circuit is no problem, and the problem is in the backlight circuit. And it is same. When we study how to repair it, the first we need to know that how it is working, what is his principle, alright? And we use the iPhone 6s as a sample. The iPhone 6s screen is the LCD display. And in the back of the LCD display, he have one good LED line. Actually, the display, the screen can work. It means that the LED line is working. The LED need to work. He just give the power to him is okay. So we see the power point. You find out the 1 and 3 and 5, these 3 pin. The pin 1, pin 3, pin 5, this 3 line is the LED power line. At first we see the pin 3. And this line, the name is PP LCM BLAMODE. And BL means backlight, and ANODE is mean the main power. And you can see the pin 1 and pin 5. Here is CAT1, CAT2. And what is the CAT1, CAT2? CAT1, CAT2, here is the loop circuit. These two loop circuit, and at the pin 3 this line, he conform to become to a full circuit to give the power. And as you can see, this power is sent by the U4020, the backlight booster IC. The backlight booster IC use the A1 pin send the power to the connector, the pin 3. And if just the one line power, the LED cannot on, so that he need to become to a loop circuit, and it go to the 3 and go to the 1 pin and become to a loop circuit. Why he have CAT1, CAT2? Because I have talking to you before, he have 2 group of the LED, so he need 2 loop circuit. So you just need to know that the backlight need to work normally, the IC. Okay, now we show you a case to let you easy to understand it. This is an iPhone 6s. The proximity sensor is have some problem. Because when we are calling close to the face, the screen have not sleep, and the proximity sensor is mean that he is fail. And change the FaceTime camera, the cable also have some problem. So according to our class in the before, you will know that when we meet this problem, after we change the cable, have not done. The first, we need to check the connector, right? And when we check the connector, the J3100, when we test the 23 this pin, he showed me the resistance is OL. It means that this line is open line, is this connection. Because normally this line, the resistance should be 476. And as we can see the schematic, you will know that this is a 3.0 power line to the proximity sensor. So you will know that I have been talking before. Normally when we meet this problem is the power line have some problem. And after we test, you can see that we found out the inductor FL3125 is damaged. And in the last class, we have been talking about if the this FL is the protection FL, we can make a jumper if it is damaged. How to make a shock jumper? We just in that 2 pin of the FL to connect it, use the jumper to connect it is okay. After we make the shock jumper and we test the resistance one more time, and the resistance is come back to normal. So we install and test the phone again. We find out the problem is finished. Today we will teach you the lesson, the class 4. This is the iPhone vertical button and Touch ID principle. And this card have a lot of information you need to make a note, okay? And today also have 3 parts. The first is the principle, and second how to test and repair. The number 3 is the case, showing to you guys how to repair and let you guys improve quickly. And the physical button including the power button, voice up, down button, the multi back button, and from iPhone 5s. Start from the iPhone 5s, the back button including the fingerprint, this function. And so we also will talking about the fingerprint and the fingerprint power system. Okay, the first we talking about the power button. In the before we have talking about easily in the power button. And the power button have problem, maybe the easily can see that problem is the phone cannot power on. And how should we confirm that the power button is okay or not? iPhone the startup ways have 2. One is press the power button and the phone can turn on. And the second is when the phone plug in the charging and connect the charging, maybe he also can power on. And when we press the power button and the phone no power on, but when we plug in the charging, when we connect to the charging and charging the phone, and the phone is turned on. And after the phone turned on, we press the power button, we have not anything come out. It means that the power button have some problem. And we can see the schematic, you can see the power point, the J4700, the pin 4. And as you can see, this button whole key connector arrow. And this is mean that whole key is the power button. And the power button when it standby, when it sleep, and he have the stable 1.8 voltage. And as you can see the power point, you see the PPT, you will know that this level the power 1.8 voltage is come from the U2000, the PMU, the K6 pin. You can see the red line. This is the power line. And as you can see, this is PP1VA always. What is the always means? Is that no matter the phone is power on, turn on, or cannot turn on. After the phone have the power supply, this line always have this 1.8 voltage. And this is 1.8 voltage always. This line always have this 1.8 voltage. When the CPU detect it, this line have the 1.8 voltage. It means that the phone have not used the power button this function. But when we press the power button, it is equivalent to let this pin connect to the GND and then connect to the ground, and then the voltage will become to the 0 voltage. In the before, this always is 1.8 voltage, but after you press the button, the voltage will become to be 0. After the CPU detect it, the voltage have been changed, and the CPU will think that you have been used this function. When the phone is turned off and the CPU detect this night the voltage have been changed to be 0 voltage in 3 to 5 seconds. and then the CPU will start to work and then power on. And when the phone is power on, when the phone is turned on, the CPU detect this line have not 1.8 voltage in 3 to 5 seconds, and then the CPU is think that you want to power off the phone. And the phone will promote something come out and let you turn off the phone. When the phone is asleep and the CPU detect this line, voltage have been changed, no 1.8 voltage in 1 second, and then the CPU will wake up the screen. When the phone is on, when the screen have something display, and then the CPU detect this line have not 1.8 voltage in 1 second, and the CPU will sleep the phone. Okay, this is the power button, the principle. Now we're talking about the voice up and down button. As you can see, this function, the principle is same like the power on button. After the phone is turned on, the voice up and voice down the button have a stable 1.8 voltage. But when we press the button, this line will connect to GND and the voltage will become to 0 voltage. And the CPU detect this voltage in this line have been changed, and the CPU will think that you want to use this function, and the phone will up the voice or down the voice. Okay, now we confirm to the mute button. The mute button, the function, the principle is same like other button. When the mute key have not turned on, this line have a stable 1.8 voltage, and the CPU detect this line have this 1.8 voltage, the phone is the normal, will not keep silence. And when this mute key is on, and this line will connect to GND and the voltage will become 0, and then the CPU detect the voltage have been changed, and then the phone will be mute. The button principle is very easy, and now we just talking about the Touch ID circuit because this is so important. Before we teach you guys the Touch ID, this sensor, the first we need to let you know how it's making. According to the picture, you can see that the first is the laser cut double higher crystal. This crystal is in order to protect the sensor under it. And the second is the detection ring. Its function is to test you guys your finger have been touched the sensor or not. And the number 3 is the Touch ID, the fingerprint sensor. And the number 4 is the back key. So this is the Touch ID sensor. Now you will know that how it's making. Now we one by one to teach you guys in detail. Now we're talking about the back button. The back key, the principle is same like other button. After the phone is power on, after the phone is sleep and standby but not turn off, the button key have the stable 1.8 voltage. When the back button is pressed, and according to let this line is connect to GND and the voltage will become to 0 voltage. When the back key have been not be hold, and the voltage will become to 1.8 voltage. When the CPU detect this voltage, this line the voltage have been changed, and the CPU will start the return key this function. And the back button back key have many functions. When we click it 1 time, and the system will come back to the original interface. And when we double click the back key, the system will show the warning background. And when we click the back key 3 times, and the CV will come out. Now we teach about the fingerprint circuit. The main function of the fingerprint is fingerprint identification, used to unclock the iPhone or used as a password. And the fingerprint want to working normally, he have 2 working conditions. One is power, second is the signal. And the fingerprint circuit, he have 3 power. One is PP 1.8 voltage. This voltage is from PMU. And the second is PP 3.0 voltage. This also from PMU. And he have the number 3 power. This power, the voltage is PP 16.5 voltage. This is from the fingerprint power IC. And the fingerprint working condition, the signal only have 1. The signal is communicate with CPU. Okay, we see the connected 21 pin. This pin, the power is sent by the fingerprint 16.5 voltage power. Is from the fingerprint power IC. If this power have some problem, in case the fingerprint cannot record into the system. So we mainly talking about the fingerprint power IC. Okay, now we mainly talking about the fingerprint power IC, the J4014. The main function of this IC, the fingerprint power IC, is in order to send the power to the fingerprint sensor when the fingerprint is recording. And the fingerprint power IC, the working condition also have two. One is power, second is signal. And this IC, the power is from the PP-VCC min, and the signal only one signal. This signal is the start signal from fingerprint. And do you remember we have been talking about the ring, the fingerprint detect ring, and this signal is sent by that ring. And this signal is sent by this connector, the 15 this pin, sent to this fingerprint power IC, the A3 and B2, these two pin. Okay, now come back to the power button, how to test and repair. The power button, you think it have some problem. The first, we need to change the power button, the cable, to have a try. And if we still have problem, we do the next step. We need to test the resistance of the J4700, the pin 4, and check this line have been disconnection or not. If we find out this pin, the line is open or have some problem, we just repair this line is okay. And if we test the resistance of this pin, the resistance is normally, we do the next step. We need to test whether this 1.8 voltage of this pin is normally or not. If the voltage is lower than 1.8 voltage, we need to connect a 2.2K resistor in this PP 1.8 always this circuit, and connect it to the power on key circuit to try to repair it. Because the lower voltage of the power on key is generally caused by the internal damage in the CPU. If we follow the voltage cannot repair it, it means that we don't need to continue to repair it. Now we're talking about the rise up and down this button, how to test and repair. And as we know that the rise up and down the button is integrated in the power button, the cable. If the voice cannot up and down, first we also need to change this cable at first. If this is done, troubleshooting. If still have some problem, we do the next step. We need to measure the resistance of this connector, the J4700, the pin 1 or pin 3, and check whether the line is disconnected or not. If this line also normally, we do the next step, and we need to measure the 1.8 voltage of this connector, the pin 1 and pin 3 is normally or not. If the voltage is lower than 1.8 voltage, we need to use the PP1VA IMU-OWL this line to connect to this current to try to repair it. Because the button low voltage is generally caused by the internal damage of the CPU. If the voltage cannot be repaired, we forgive to repair it. Because the CPU inside have some problem, we cannot change it because the CPU also inclusion. The CPU had damage, cannot repair it. Now we talk about the mule key, how to test and repair. Because those buttons is integrated in the same cable, as you can see the cymatic also in the same cymatic, and you can see that how to test and repair the solution is similarly. The first also change the new one cable to have a try. After that, we test this connector, the pin 5, and then check if the line have disconnected or not. And then we measure whether the 1.8 voltage of this pin is normally or not. If the voltage is lower than 1.8 voltage, we need to use the PP1VA IMU-OWL this line to connect to this circuit, try to repair it. Because the button low voltage is generally caused by the internal damage of the CPU. And we make a jumper to this line to follow the voltage to this line, and the voltage cannot become to normally, and then we cannot repair it because this is the CPU inside damage. Now, so that we're talking about the return button, how to test and repair. First, the return key module is integrated in the fingerprint sensor. The return key damage, we can change a new one, but the fingerprint function will be lost after you change. The second, replace the fingerprint extension cable. And maybe someone don't know where is this cable. This cable is in the back side of the LCD. After we change it still not work, we need to do the number 3. We need to test the resistance of the J4100 pin 11. Check this line is normally or not. After that is normally we need to test the voltage 1.8 voltage of the 11 pin in this connector is normally or not. If this voltage is lower than 1.8 voltage, we need to try to repair it by connect the PP1VA IMU OWL this line. Make a jumper to this circuit to try to let this line the voltage become to normally. Because the button low voltage is generally caused by the interact damage of the CPU. If after we make a jumper to this circuit to follow the voltage to this circuit and the voltage have been not become to normally, and we cannot repair it because this is CPU problem, a CPU inside problem. We cannot repair it. Is the CPU inside this IC inside have some problem? Not loose, not sharp, it's like this. So we cannot repair it because CPU cannot change. Now we mainly talking about the fingerprint circuit, how to repair it. Before we repair the fingerprint, first we need to confirm that the fingerprint is matched to the motherboard, matched to this phone. Because the fingerprint is not matched to the motherboard, not matched to this phone, you cannot repair it. The fingerprint is encryption for the motherboard, so we cannot change it. After that, you confirm the fingerprint is matched to the motherboard, so you can follow the coming step to one by one to test it and repair it. When we repair the fingerprint, normally we will see 2 stages. Actually, when we repair this problem, when we open the setting to enter the Touch ID and password, you will see that the fingerprint, the menu, maybe it's gray, maybe it's blue. If the menu, the button, the color is gray, it means that the CPU have not detected out the fingerprint. As you can see in the PowerPoint, you will see that when we see the color is gray, the first we need to check the fingerprint model. After that, we need to check the fingerprint external cable. And number 3 is check the fingerprint the connector. And number 4, check if the fingerprint 1.8 voltage or 3.0 voltage the power is normally or not. And in the end, we need to check the fingerprint and the CPU, the communication line is normally or not. If the color is blue, he also have 2 stages. If you click to add the fingerprint, immediately come out to an error, it means that this fingerprint is not matched the motherboard. And the second is after click add fingerprint, there is no response to adding fingerprint. But on the desktop, easily double touch the return key, the menu will be pulled down. This is a system problem. Flash the machine, we can repair it. Remember here is double touch, it's touch not click. Double click is the system will come to the background, but double touch is pull down the menu. This is the difference. And number 3, after click the adding fingerprint, there is no response to adding fingerprint. On the desktop, double touch the back key and nothing happened. It means that the fingerprint 16.5 voltage, this power is abnormal. Okay, number 4 is when we test the resistance of the connector J4100, the 21 pin. Check there have the 16.5, the power supply line is normally or not. And how to test this 16.5 power is okay or not. We need to open add the fingerprint and put your finger on the fingerprint key, and then you test the 16.5 voltage. This voltage is normally or not. And in the end, we need to check the U4014, this fingerprint power IC. Because this fingerprint power IC gives the 16.5 voltage power to fingerprint this function. So we also need to test it. Okay, now so we teach you guys how to test and repair the fingerprint power IC. Actually, this fingerprint power IC, he is a booster system. His main function is use the 3.8 voltage to exchange to boost to the 16.5 voltage and then send to the fingerprint sensor. And in the last class, we have been talking about the boost system. The boost system is including the booster IC, boost inductor, boost capacitor, and the diode. But actually in this boost system, he have not the dialog because the dialog is integrated into the IC. So at first we need to check the power of it. And as we know that this power is from the PPVCC min. But actually maybe we don't need to test this PPVCC min this power because this power have some problem. The phone will not turn on because the PPVCC min also is the power to the PMU. If the PMU not work, the phone cannot turn on. So the second we need to do is change the U4014 the booster IC. If after change this IC still not work, maybe we need to change the boost inductor, the boost capacitor, the signal circuit. Okay, now after that we show you some case to let you improve quickly and understand it more easily. Okay, this is the first case. This is the iPhone 8 cannot enter the fingerprint information. Means that the fingerprint cannot record into the system. So when the fingerprint is open into the recording interface, but the recording is not possible. And we have been talking about this is usually caused by the abnormal 16 voltage power supply of the fingerprint sensor. And we can see the solution. The first we can see the schematic and test the resistance of the fingerprint connector. And after we test, we found out the pin A. The pin A is OL, which normally should be 613A. So this line is OL is mean that this line is open line, is disconnect. So we just focus on this line is okay. According to the schematic, we can see that this line, the circuit is PP16 voltage Mesa connector. This line is 16 voltage power supply for the fingerprint sensor. This row is powered by the fingerprint power IC. After passing through the positive inductor FL5820, it lands to the connector pin 16. In the before we have been test, this line is OL. It means that this line have something is maybe it's loose, maybe it's damaged, case the disconnect. So we remove the FL and this is positive inductor. So we can make a shock jumper. How to make a shock jumper? We just remove it and in the 2 pin in the pan of the FL, we just use the line to make a jumper to let it connect. This is mean shock jumper. After we make a jumper, the millimeter, so the resistance become to the normal. So we install and test. This problem is finished. Okay, now show you another case. This is iPhone 8 Plus. The return function is normally, but the fingerprint function is abnormal. When we see this case, the first we need to test is when we enter the fingerprint this position, the color is gray or blue because different color is different reply solution. And we have been detected and this color is gray. It means that the fingerprint sensor have been not detected by the CPU. So at this time, it's necessary to determine that whether the cable is broken or the motherboard circuit have some problem. First, we remove the fingerprint module and see very detailed, and then we have not found out damage and the disconnection. So we place the LCD to test. We found that the problem is still. And when we remove the fingerprint module and install to another mobile phone and the fingerprint adding the function, the position is blue. It means that the fingerprint module is have no problem. The problem is in that motherboard. So next we need to test the resistance of the fingerprint connector and check whether have some line has a problem or not. And when we are testing, we find out the connector, fingerprint connector, the pin 1 is OL. It normally should be 579. So this line is open line. This line is disconnection. And according to the schematic, you can see that the J5800 this fingerprint connector, the pin 1, the circuit is PP1VA Mesa connector, which is the 1.8 voltage power supply for the fingerprint circuit. And in the class we have been talking before, this power is sent by the main power IC, sent by the PMU. After he go past the positive inductor FL5810, this inductor and leads to the fingerprint connector pin 1. And in our repair, maybe you will know that lots of problem is caused by the small component. So we test the inductor first. After our detect the inductor is damaged, so we remove it and make a shock jumper. Because this is a positive inductor, not a booster inductor. If the inductor is damaged, we can remove it directly and make a jumper in the pan of the inductor 2 pin. After millimeter to test the resistance again, and the resistance is become to normal. So we install and test the phone again. This problem is finished. Okay, now show you another case. This is iPhone 8 Plus. The fingerprint cannot be recorded. The first we test the phone, the fingerprint enter interface and be open, but just not recorded. And according to our class, this usually is caused by the abnormal 16 voltage power supply to the fingerprint sensor, because the power is the working condition of the fingerprint. If the power has some problem, the fingerprint cannot working normally. So we see the solution. The first, we need to test the resistance of the fingerprint connector, right? After that, after testing, the resistance all is same. So the next step we do is measure the voltage. When we measure the voltage, we found that the 16 voltage of the connector pin 8 always have knock. You need to put your finger on the fingerprint sensor when you testing this voltage. When we test he have knock this voltage, it means that this line have some problem. So we see the schematic, you can find out the schematic. The 16 voltage power supply of the fingerprint is provided by the booster system. The booster system is including the booster IC, booster inductor, booster capacitor. We have been talking before like this. And follow the step we have been teach. And first we need to remove and change the fingerprint booster IC. After we change it, and the voltage is become to normal. It means that this line is become to normally. So we install and test. This problem is finished. So you guys just follow the step we are teaching in the class, one step by one step to test and repair. You are very easily to troubleshooting. I hope you guys see the video, see the PowerPoint, and listen more and more. You need to be smart. You need to thinking a lot, and you can repair easily in the future. Okay.
结尾，3、2、1，开始。
Hello everyone, this is all the information in this video class. I suggest you guys see this video one more time and make more notes, and when you study hard you will get more. Okay, we can come back to our Facebook group, and if you in this class have some question, you can ask and we will give you the answer. Also, you have some problem when you meeting in the repair, you also ask. We also can give you the answer for free. Okay, thank you so much.